Hey everybody, Mazer here, and today we're doing something a little different. You may have noticed that my live streams have been kind of chaotic recently, and the reason for that is because I am packing up to move. Yes, and it's taking up a lot of my time, sad to say, but a move is exciting. However, during this time, I was looking at my collections around the house. I was like, you know what? Some people keep asking me, off the Twitters and everything, what exactly I have in the background of my game room. They see me pulling down figurines or pulling off photographs from the wall and showing them during the live streams when they are relevant. So I decided to make a little bit, some videos here to showcase some of the collections that I own. And today is the autograph showcase. Yes, I would like to share a lot of the autographs that I've collected over the years from various different genres of entertainment, whether it be movies, video games, what have you, and just give you a little story from each one. And what better way to start this off than one of my favorite ones of all time, Judge Doom. Signed by Christopher Lloyd. So they had a Back to the Future reunion here in Las Vegas on Fremont Street about a year or so ago. I think the only one who didn't show up was Michael J. Fox, but Christopher Lloyd was the headliner. And he, unfortunately, was very sick that day, but he told everybody that he will definitely come out of the hotel room, just didn't know when. So my dad and I, my dad being a huge Back to the Future fan himself, waited 3 extra hours, and true to his word, Christopher Lloyd did show up despite being in poor health. Everybody got Back to the Future memorabilia signed, but me, this was the role I remembered him the most as. Judge Doom, the guy of my nightmares as a child. In fact, this character scared me so much I did not end up watching Who Framed Roger Rabbit again until I was 18 years old, and now it's one of my favorite movies. Wonderful man, by the way, very personable, loves the fans, and he is so dedicated to everybody. I cannot tell you enough of how absolutely awesome Christopher Lloyd is. I'm going to set him down nice and safe. Now, some of these are signed for my wife. For example, this one. We got to meet Little Nell, Columbia from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. She, again, another absolute doll, and despite her age, she is super energetic. She made sure to interact with all the fans at the Monsterpalooza where we met her. And just an absolute ray of sunshine, a total delight. So we got this little Columbia figurine before we got to meet Little Now, and she was more than happy to sign it for my wife. Beautiful. Let's see here. The next one on our list is Elvira. Again, this one's signed to my wife, but we both got to meet. We got to meet all of them, but she got some autographs, I got some autographs. Oh, Elvira, still absolutely beautiful to this day. Now, this was one of the very first celebrities. She was one of the first celebrities I ever met. And my funny story with her is that I actually asked her, how did you come up with the persona of Elvira? And she told me with a dead straight face that I am Elvira. That is what she told me. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Yeah. And she laughed and she just said, a lot of people think it's a persona when this is who she is. She is Elvira. I was like, okay, I'm sorry. But it was my first time meeting a real celebrity, and I was nervous, but she took it with good humor. We actually ran into Elvira several times throughout the years, and she's always been an absolute delight. Just a wonderful person. So we're going to put Elvira down now. Gotta find a nice safe spot for all these. There we go. The next one will be right here, one of my favorite horror movies, The Reanimator. We got to meet Jeffrey Combs, that's his autograph right here, H. West, and right up here is Bruce Abbott, who played the Reanimator's assistant in the movie, the unwilling toady, if you will. Bruce Abbott is a wonderfully sarcastic, fun person. Made sure to spend a lot of time with all of his fans, but Bruce Abbott was even more sarcastic and so cheerful and jolly, and what we enjoyed about that was as he was signing his name up here, he was looking for a location. Since he used the green, he couldn't sign up here. He was looking for a location around here to sign his name, and he kept grumbling that the showboat and narcissist of Herbert West, of Jeffrey Combs, just had to make his signature bigger and better than everyone else's at the convention. And it was very fun to interact with both of them. Barbara Crampton was also there, but I got to meet her for Chopping Mall instead of Reanimator. I already met her once, so these two were my big go-to guys during this convention. Then following them would be none other than Tara Strong. Yes, Tara Strong, voice of let's see, Bubbles from Powerpuff Girls, Twilight Sparkle in My Little Pony, Raven in Teen Titans, and of course Juliet in Lollipop Chainsaw, one of my favorite games from Suda51. It's a silly game about a cheerleader running around with a chainsaw, murdering zombies based off different genres of music. And Tara Strong, I cannot tell you how absolutely a delight it is to meet her. She is a wonderful person, spent a lot of time with every fan and was willing to answer any question. And she is just bouncy and bubbly. Everything you expect from the character she plays, that is Tara Strong. So we're going to put these over here so I don't have to keep going off camera. Now this one's very special to me. Yes, The Devil's Rejects, signed by Ken Forway. Let's see here. That's Sid Haig, Bill Moseley, and Leslie Easterbrook, who played Mama Firefly. This is my favorite Rob Zombie movie, and it's up there in my top 10 horror movies of all time. It's just a wonderfully done film. And we've been able to secure almost all the Rejects' signatures over the years. I missed out on getting the giant brother guy who wore the bear outfit. Kevin Mukes. I missed out on his autograph. For some reason, it just didn't dawn on me when I met him to have him sign this. It just, I don't know, left my mind. But yes, we got most of the Rejects. The only one I'm missing is Sherry Moon, who doesn't do conventions, but maybe one day I can add her to the list. Again, all these actors, especially Leslie, I cannot tell you. I would have a whole video discussing how amazing of a woman Leslie Easterbrook is. We spoke for like 25 minutes nonstop, and she was a total delight. Bill Moseley, Sid, and Ken, again, all wonderful people, and we have stories for those guys in a little bit. Let's go to the next one right here. And speaking of the Devil's Rejects, here we go. This is what my wife got. She got her favorite picture of Sid Haig, rest his soul, wonderful person. Now let me I got a quick story that I would like to share about Sid. All right, one day we were at a Days of the Dead convention. All right, and across from Sid's booth was the bartender from The Shining. All right, and again, another wonderful person. And I overheard Sid talking to another fan about how disappointed he was that the actor who played the bartender, the name escapes me, is only being recognized as the bartender. Sid mentioned that this actor was in all sorts of movies, did even better roles than just The Shining's bartender, and he was like, I wish the fans would look past that to his other work. You know, that stuck with me because for me, personally, I only knew Sid from his Rob Zombie films. I was like, you know what? He has a point. So, my wife and I actually looked up Sid's IMDb and realized that this man has been acting since the 70s, which blew our minds. And we actually decided to look up some of his older work. And the next time we actually ran into him, because he was at a ton of these conventions, we brought up a few of his older movies. And the moment we did, he lit up like a Christmas tree and just got so cheerful to discuss these older movies that many people don't talk to him about compared to, you know, Devil's Rejects and Thousand Corpses. He was so excited just to bring up all these stories from the movies he started off with in the 70s, the exploitative films and all that. So, my little bit of advice to all those watching is if you know an actor and love them for a particular role, look up their other work. And if you ever do get a chance to meet them, bring up that other work because they will really appreciate it. You know, at least Sid did. I know a few other actors do, but this guy was blunt, direct, and totes cool. I cannot talk more positive about Sid Haig and all the interactions I've had with him. And we'll miss you, Sid. You were a great actor, a wonderful person, and the horror community is definitely missing out with you gone. That said, I'm going to put him down there nice and safe. This is Your Soul Is Mine. This is, let's see if I can pronounce his name right. I put him up. Cary Hiroyuki Tagawa's autograph from Mortal Kombat. Now, he was at a very small convention that I drove an hour and a half away. The convention seemed okay. I was like, okay, they have some cool celebrities. But the moment I saw him, I booked it immediately. And I drove an hour and a half just to meet Cary. And I cannot tell you how absolutely fun Cary was with the fans. He lives up to the Shang Tsung. I mean, he was only in this movie as Shang Tsung. He's done so much more work, but he has embraced this character so much that he returned for the Mortal Kombat Legacy YouTube series. And he's in the Mortal Kombat 11. And I can't tell you, this man loves being Shang Tsung. So much so that I asked him for a photo where he, like, is your soul is mine while grabbing my hair. And he was more than happy to. And, well, here's what the photo looks like right here. And, yeah, Cary just embraces this character, and I really hope that he plays Shang Tsung forever in at least the video games. I know they replaced him in the new movie coming out, but that's okay. But the fact is, he in Mortal Kombat 11 is absolutely phenomenal, and I appreciate that. Going back down to horror, we got Candyman, starring Tony Todd. So we have two signatures here. We have Bernard Rose, who, right here, was the director. Oh, I'm sorry, we have three signatures. I was trying to remember who this was. That's a great one. All right, so we have the writer-director Bernard Rose right here. We have Tony Todd's signature here. And this wonderful scribble is none other than Clive freaking Barker. All right, and I'll give you two quick stories about both of them. Tony Todd, I knew him more from the Final Destination movies because I didn't see Candyman until I was much older. My wife, though, she saw Tony Todd in Candyman when she was like 8 years old or something. And when she told that to him, he stopped everything he was doing and looked at her and goes, 8? 8 years old? I have nightmares for my characters and you are watching this from 8? What was wrong with you? And it was just absolutely funny. And I believe on her DVD of Candyman, I think he actually wrote that. Like, I can't believe you're 8 or something to that effect. Love Tony Todd. Clive Barker now. That was my first Days of the Dead convention I went to. And like Christopher Lloyd, Clive Barker was very sick that day that he showed up. But he had his manager or handler, whatever you want to call it, tell everybody, do not leave. He will come down and honor every person's autograph and that came to see him. And we waited maybe 2 hours in line, and sure enough, he showed up, and he looked tired and everything, but he refused to leave until every single fan was taken care of. And there were three rules, or I'm sorry, three major rules when meeting him. One, no flash photography, mostly because, or no photography whatsoever because of the time constraints. They didn't have time for him to pose with every fan, and we respect that. Number two was do not ask Clive Barker for any artwork to be drawn. Again, due to time and his health. He didn't, you know. And number 3, do not ask too many questions. Again, time. Now, with all that said, the very last person in line had one of Clive Barker's art books. And after signing it, Clive went to the very back page and started to sketch a 2-page drawing. And the guy's handler was like, Clive, we don't have time for this. And he goes, we always have time for this. And he did a 2-page spread sketch just for this dude's art book and then signed it again. And the look on this fan's face, we got to talk to him later because this guy did like these cool little coins based off Hellraiser and everything. The look on the guy's face was like a child seeing Santa Claus. I cannot describe the absolute sheer pleasure he had at getting Clive Barker to, or having Clive Barker sketch something live in front of him in his art book. Just a wonderful, I'm going to use that word for the rest of this review. Clive Barker is just a great person. Just so wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Speaking of wonderful people, speaking of great guys, this is Art Lafleur, I believe that's how his name is. So this is the guy that I always called, you see him in every movie, but you never know his name. He played Babe Ruth in Sandlot, and he is all over a bunch of the 80s and 90s films. And again, kind, warm-hearted, more than happy to talk to everybody. And I asked him, I was like, sir, what is one of your favorite things about being like a side actor? Because he doesn't really star in anything. He's always a side actor in his movies. And he goes, they pay me to go all around the world to do like 3 or 4 scenes, and then I get to enjoy my vacation. He goes, I was flown to Italy, I've been flown to Spain, I've been flown all over the United States to film all these movies. I only work for like 2 or 3 days to get the shot done, and then I have a vacation. He goes, I get paid to visit the world. And he had a great sense of humor. It was just, overall, just fun to talk to. And speaking of fun to talk to, I'm going to put that down there. This, who remembers this movie? I can't tell you enough of how much my family and I watched Weekend at Bernie's. This is Terry Kaiser. Again, another actor who's been in tons of films, but personally, I know him as Bernie from Weekend at Bernie's. And, he and I were talking about this role. And he goes, how could I ever be mad about starring in such a stupid movie? He goes, there's a college that uses my dance at the prom. He goes, people love this movie, and they loved what I did in it. He goes, I will always love Weekend at Bernie's. And, he was kind enough to give my dad, he's a huge fan of this, he gave my dad a shout out, which is very kind of him. Terry Kaiser, again, good heart, good person. Another guy that I can never say a negative thing about is the one and only Bill Moseley, seen here in Repo, the Genetic Opera. I've met Bill probably, 5 or 6 times now. He's at a ton of horror conventions, and every time I see him, he is swamped with fans. He rarely stays behind the booth. He loves getting out of the booth to discuss and interact with the fans. And one time, I actually asked him if he could do me a favor and call a friend of mine who's a huge fan of Bill's work. And he said, the moment she is off of work, let him know, and he'll pause everything to give her a quick phone call. And he did. You can actually see that video in my video history. I'll put the link in the description. And, Bill plays all these great psychopaths, but every time he's in front of the fans, he lights up and just loves sharing all the stories of his different movies and personal life. And, again, kind, sweet, loving person, and I can never say enough about him. I do have a few other autographs from Bill. Besides The Devil's Reject, He signed my copy of Corpse Killer, which he is a character in that game. But unfortunately, I already packed that one up, so I can't add it to this video. That's a shame. Another person from the horror genre would be, Philip. I can't remember how to pronounce his last name, but Philip played the woman in black in the Insidious movie, Insidious 2, most predominantly. Unfortunately, I don't have much of a story with him. He was there and very nice and would talk to a few of the fans, but we didn't get anything like super story worthy. But yeah, creepy on how much they transformed him, by the way, from from what he looks like to this. The transformation was actually very well done. To take a break from horror movies, I want to bring up a cartoon, one of my favorite underrated cartoons from Disney, in my opinion, which would be the Aristocats. So this one came as a surprise. What happened was I was running around in a convention. I forgot why I was running around. I think I was late to a panel or something. And I was running around and I passed this actor's booth. And I noticed that he was the voice actor of Toulouse from Aristocats. And I'm going to try to see if I can get the guy's name up real fast. Let's see, Aristocats. Here we go. Gary Dubin. There we go. Gary Dubin. He played Toulouse right here, the real smart-ass brother who liked to paint, if I remember correctly. Yeah, he was just there at a booth. I was like, oh my god, you're freaking Toulouse. And I love Aristocats, so what the hell. Good humor. The guy cracked lots of jokes and shared a few of his stories from the time when he was a child actor doing this movie. Just a real pleasant person. Now, we've been talking about a lot of pleasant people, but none can really compare. I mean, they're all wonderful, but let me tell you about this. This is Kevin freaking Conroy. My wife got this autograph by him. I got a photo with him. This is Kevin Conroy, one of the most iconic voices of Batman, and just a person, I think he's the best Batman when it comes to the animated series. Kevin Conroy's line stretched across the entire auditorium. It was, let's see, we had Kevin Conroy, we had the actress who played Catwoman there, Julie Newmar, thank you, and Burt Ward, who played Robin in the Adam West series. Unfortunately, Adam West himself had to leave early. He wasn't feeling well. Oh, and yeah, Tara Strong was there, as because Harley Quinn. But we waited like insane amount of time for Kevin Conroy. But what was really cool is we overheard that he denied his lunch breaks, because usually after a while they'll leave the booth, go to lunch, then come back. He refused because he wanted to make sure every single person who was there to see him got to see him and actually, shake his hand and interact, not just a one done and you leave. And what was really cool is when I got to meet him, I asked him if he could do a shout out for a friend of mine, and he was like, sure, but I can't do the voice due to convention rules. I'm like, that's fine. And he did the shout out, and then he looked around and quickly whispered, I'm Batman. I was like, oh my freaking god, that was so freaking cool. Yeah, just a delight of a person, and he cares about the fans so damn much. And meeting him was a delight. If I can get a chance to meet Mark Hamill to complete this autograph collection, because, I'll have Tara Strong, Kevin Conroy, if I can meet Mark Hamill to complete this, I will be super, super happy. But one can only dream. Back to the horror movies, because that's the genre I like to go to the most. This is Trauma Films, B.C. Butcher. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of a Trauma film. They are very low budget, very controversial, very gory, and Look, just do me a favor. Look up Lloyd Kaufman's Twitter. The man is insane, and I mean that in the best of way. He is an absolute lunatic, and I love him so much. So what Troma does is they are, again, a very low-budget studio, and Lloyd loves to give new people a chance to make their own movies. All right. He is all about trying to break new directors and writers into the industry. So in this movie, this was created by, she is one of them. I think this is Kansas Bowling. And this might be, I don't want to get the actresses mixed up. Anyways, basically it is the Bowling sisters who direct and wrote this movie to about a caveman serial killer, if you can believe that. And what was really cool is this sister actually invited us to the premiere party, but unfortunately we were heading back to Vegas after that, so we couldn't make it, which really bummed me out because I thought that would have been fun. But yeah, great cast of people, and very sweetheart, the Bowling sisters. Look, do yourself a favor, watch this movie, and please watch Troma films. They are something else. All right? They are something else.